Hello everyone and welcome to your monthly episode of Toby Washi. So if you've been keeping up with anime, then you've definitely heard of Blue Lock. It's the most popular anime on Crunchyroll, it's flooding the TikTok For You page, and Japan even wore their jerseys in the World Cup. All this praise is well deserved too because the show is awesome. It has its quirks like any other show. Sometimes they have really ass CGI, but they try to only use it in really short bursts. Some of the characters' lines are corny because they have to censor stuff from the manga, and the pacing, Jesus Christ, the pacing is so out of whack sometimes. But the good way more than outweighs the bad. Way more than outweighs. That's a funny sentence. Despite what I said earlier about CGI, Blue Lock's animation is pretty incredible. It's one for one with the manga the majority of the time, and they put a lot of time and effort into the key moments. Even with its small budget, I would say the show has some of the best animation sequences of the entire fall/winter anime season. Except for Bleach, of course. Thousand Year Blood War was probably the most aesthetically pleasing season of anime I've ever seen in my entire life. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. The pacing of Blue Lock was pretty good for the most part, and there wasn't a time where I was really bored, but there were definitely some scenes and moments that were longer than they needed to be for the sake of ending the episode on a cliffhanger. And I understand that they don't want to give too much away on any one particular week, but it definitely got obnoxious waiting an extra week for stuff that they definitely could have put in the previous week's episode. But what really makes this show stand out is the way it breaks free from the classic sports anime formula. Now don't get me wrong, I love watching the high school team win nationals with the power of trust and teamwork just as much as anybody else, but I'll be the first one to admit that it has become a bit stale in recent years. And Blue Lock takes this formula and completely flips it on its head from the very first episode of the show. For starters, the setting alone is probably one of the most creative anime sports concepts ever outside of fantasy or sci-fi stuff like megaloboxing. The idea of the Blue Lock system leaves a lot more room for suspense than most traditional sports anime, because if we're being honest, everybody knows how 99% of sports anime are gonna go. The show starts in the beginning of the school year, the team enters the Winter Cup, they lose a really close game to the best team in the district, they rematch that team during the Spring Cup, which is the last chance they have before missing nationals. They win the game by sheer bullshit luck, teamwork, etc. Then they go on to win nationals and everyone lives happily ever after. But the way the Blue Lock system is set up adds room for a lot more suspense and thrill, because losing doesn't necessarily mean the end of the series, so they can play around with the outcome of the games a little bit more than traditional sports anime. Needless to say, the characters are pretty awesome too. Obviously there are some throwaways like that bald nigga and Kuon and whoever the fuck those two dudes with the curly eyebrows are that look like Sanji a little bit, but the majority of the characters find a way to be interesting, whether it's their personality, motivations, or just them being straight up cool as fuck. For example, someone like Nagi doesn't really have the most interesting backstory ever. The nigga's kinda just good at soccer, but after you see him play, how can he not be one of your favorites? Everything he does is so smooth and controlled and amazing. And like the way that nigga play make me want to cry sometimes. On the other hand, someone like Kunigami isn't really the flashiest player ever, but you can tell from his dialogue that he has real convictions and drive and the determination to inspire people. And there's characters like Chigiri who not only have cool abilities but are also really relatable, because I'm sure that a lot of you guys watching can relate to the struggle of being unsure of oneself and whether or not you have the ability to achieve your dreams. It's a really fresh cast and the thought put into the characters is very apparent. The themes and ideas Blue Lock brings to the table are also really refreshing. It's basically the antithesis to most, if not all, of its predecessors. In traditional sports anime, the main theme or idea is usually that the team that wins is the better team of 5 or 11 or however many players are required for that sport. And as the story unfolds, we see the main character or characters letting go of their pride and accepting that they're never going to be able to win without the trust and support of their teammates. Nope, not Blue Lock though. The moral of this show's story is if you're not good enough to win, then get better, and your teammates are nothing more than stepping stones for your own individual success. In a way, both of these sentiments are true. Teamwork is crucial to winning any team-based game or sport, obviously, and when someone relies on their teammates to complement strengths and cover their weaknesses, it doesn't make them a bad player. But at the same time, if someone wants to be the best at something, they have to put themselves first, even if it's a team sport, because when everything is said and done, when someone's the leader of a team and their team loses, that loss is on them. It tarnishes their legacy and theirs alone. Nobody blames the Cavs losing to the Spurs in the finals on Mo Williams or fucking Larry Hughes. They blame LeBron. He was the leader of the team. He averaged damn near 30 a game for the series, but the loss was still on him because he was the leader. In the same sense, no one says that Horace Grant won the Bulls all those finals in the 90s. They say Michael Jordan won it for them. So when a player is in a position like that, they have to establish themselves as the best player on that team, and their teammates will have to adapt their style to match that player's style. And Bullock depicts this mental journey out of the role player mindset excellently through Isagi from the first episode when he makes that pass and loses his high school game. In the beginning of the series, Isagi lacks the skills and abilities to progress to the next level, not because he's incapable of getting better, but because he subconsciously limits himself with his mindset and the way that he approaches soccer mentally. And that's the entire point of Blue Lock, to help the characters understand who they are as a player, because if someone doesn't understand who they are, how can they then be put in a position to lead someone else? And that culminates for Isagi when he stops trying to adapt to his teammates' playstyle in the second selection. He realizes that he'll never be the best if he keeps letting himself be drowned out by his teammates, and this realization alone transforms him into one of the best players in season 1 of the show. Anyways, I say all of this to say that Blue Lock is a truly amazing anime, and it has the ability to really change the way you view yourself and the world around you if you open yourself up to the possibility. And with that being said, I think that's everything I care to say in this video. So if you're still here, have an amazing day and go out and do something incredible. Peace out. I'm a huge fan of the Last of Us series, and now that the live action is making it popular, I haven't seen a lot of videos. I don't make